This picture is also 1948 in Barletta, Italy. I took a course in tractor driving, tractor handling, and we were very proud to sit on top of that tractor to take the picture.
And who are the people in the picture? Starting
On the left is Shonti Schwartz. Next it's me, Shlomo Berkovich. Then we have Herschel Stein. And the instructor, and he was an Israeli, his name was Sweet. That's all we knew, was Sweet. Matter of fact, we thought he was a member of the Haganah, but we don't know.
Thank you. And this picture?
That's me, Sam Berry, in 1950, in New York.
What was the occasion of the picture?
I got a brand new suit. I really don't know any special occasion.
Thank you. Can you tell me about this document?
This is a, we got these documents in Barletta. They were given out for identification. Also, when they had immunization shots on any kind of thing, a health thing they came out with, you had to present this, and they mark you in that you took whatever they're giving out.
And the year on this?
1947.
Thank you. And this document?
This document is my diploma, what I took the course in tractor driving, and that was supported, organized, and run by ORT. It was a very good organization because they had all kinds of different courses. I was very proud to get the diploma.
Thank you. And this document?
This document is the final document what we got before embarkation. They checked that we took care of everything that was necessary, papers and health-wise. That was the final document when we got to board the ship.
And again, what month was it?
That's in December of 1949.
Mr. Berry, will you introduce the people that are with you?
To my left is my lovely wife, Greta, and behind me is my terrific son, Kenneth Berry.
Mr. Berry, how did you know that Mrs. Berry was the woman that you wanted to marry?
I raised her practically. I got to know her when she was a young child. She was about 11 or 12.
So how did you know she was the woman?
I just knew it. I saw the family, and I like the family, and I figured she can't be too far away from there. So as it turned out, I was right.
How was your relationship affected by your experiences during the war on each of you individually?
Well, her experiences are completely different. First, she started off young as a small child. I think she was 6 or 7 when she left Vienna. But she was with her parents. It's completely different than mine because I was more or less on my own.
But how did those experiences affect your relationship?
I don't think it had any effect except I was looking for a family. I wanted to have a family.
What would you like to say to her and to your son?
What was the last?
What would you like to say to Mrs. Berry and to your son, Ken?
To keep on to be what they are, and I think that that should do. That's sufficient.
Mrs. Berry?
Yeah.
How did you know that Mr. Berry was the man that you wanted to marry?
Well, I was about the age of 12 when I first met him, and he was kind of cute, I must admit. He was a good-looking boy, and I figured, well, maybe in the future we'll see what happens.
I want to hear this part.
And He just turned out that he was the right one.
And what would you like to say to him at this time?
I love you. I hope you stay healthy and we have a good life together.
And to your son?
I love my son. He's the most wonderful person that I know because he's my son. He's a kind, good person, and I love him.
How do you think your common backgrounds or uncommon backgrounds have affected your relationship?
I don't think they really have. We kind of adapted to each other. We understood each other because of what we went through, although there were different types of things going through, but we kind of understood. I understood when he had to work late. I understood that he is trying to make money for the family. I tried to support him in that way. Just try to make a good home.
Would you hand the mic, please, to the... How much of your parents' wartime experiences do you know about?
I would say not very much. For the most part, I think as they've probably told you, they were looking more to assimilate into American society and probably looking more forward than back what happened. You know, obviously there were times when they would mention it, and it's mostly in passing more than anything else.
How curious were you about what happened in their lives?
I was somewhat curious. I got the feeling probably now looking back on it as a young person that it was not something that they really wanted to talk about that much. Ironically, over the last several years, I've been after both of them to kind of talk about it more. I think at one point I even I bought a tape recorder and I wanted them to tape, they probably mentioned that earlier. So this is a terrific thing, and I'm looking forward to hearing the tape and seeing what they have to say.
Of the stories that they were willing to share with you, of the things that they were willing to tell you, which story do you remember the most of each one?
Well, from my father, one thing he told me that sort of impressed upon me, and it's actually something he told me not that long ago, was that I sort of had a vision of his village, something out of Fiddler on the Roof, something along those lines. But apparently there were a lot of non-Jewish people there, which I didn't really think of at the time. And what struck him, he said, is how his friends, or people he considered to be his friends, not turned against him, but sort of turned away from him. And that sort of feeling of how something like that could happen. And from my mother's perspective, I think more it was the concept of having to leave home in such a rapid, in the life that she knew. You know, she was obviously much younger, but to have your life kind of turned upside down in that respect.
And how were you affected by these?
On the surface, probably, I mean, I think I grew up a relatively normal lifestyle. I do feel a definite connection to my family and my religion because of what happened to my parents. You know, it's something that I've tried to impress upon my kids, and it's not that I'm a especially observant Jew, but I do feel strongly about being Jewish, and obviously I feel this connection, having been the first generation American, you know, probably stronger than a lot of other people who are in my same age group.
How do you think being the son of two people who survived the horrors of war have affected your relationship with your parents?
Well, I probably look up to them. I mean, I have a tremendous amount of respect for what they accomplished. If anything, probably I feel like a bit of an underachiever, having known what they went through, and then to come to a different country with virtually nothing and start another life is something that I do have a tremendous amount of respect for what they have accomplished.
Since the school systems are teaching so much about Holocaust education today, what have your children asked you about their grandparents?
They occasionally will ask me things. Frankly, I mean, they haven't asked a lot about it. You know, nothing specific that comes to my mind right now. I know they're very aware of the fact that they were there, and it's something that I've mentioned to them on several occasions. So we have talked about it a bit.
What lessons have you specifically learned from their experiences of what you know?
Well, I try to put it in the context of the religious aspect more than anything else. You know, I've explained to them about anti-Semitic problems, which they truthfully have not really encountered, but you know, it's certainly these sort of things can happen. It can happen again, and it's something that I very much wanted to impress upon them.
What would you like to say to them?
Well, I'd like to thank them for their kind words earlier before, and obviously I do love them very much. And again, I keep on coming back to the fact of the tremendous respect that I have for, you know, something that I can't even fathom, of having to come to a brand new country, not knowing the language, you know, building a life, starting a family, and being successful.
Since this information is going to be used for historical reasons and for the archives, what message would you like to leave for the future?
That's a tough one off the top of my head. Obviously, I think it's the importance of, again, I'm going to go back to the religious part of it, which is, you know, that it's important to keep the continuity of the religion, to have that passed down from one generation to another. This is the kind of thing that should not be forgotten and cannot be forgotten. And as opposed to history books where you simply open up and read about it, this is why this is a tremendous experience right here, that it's going to be preserved on tape so you can actually see the people and hear them talking about what happened.
Would either of you like to add anything more?
I really appreciate I appreciate this whole thing. I know you people work very hard. You've been very patient with us the whole day, and I feel very lucky to have been able to make this tape.
Well, same sentiments. I want to thank you, and you've been very helpful, Barbara, because without your questions, I probably would have had it down in 20 minutes. And I do recommend you. It's a tremendous thing what you're doing, and more people should know what happened and not to let forget it what happened.
Thank you.